Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back to the show. We're excited to have Lynda Thornton Hunt here joining us once again today. Excited to have her here from the UK to talk more about your inside story. And as a mental health counselor and author, she's back with us today, joining us live. How are you?
I'm good. Jill, how are you?
I'm doing well. Pleasure I get to see you here live on the podcast and on the Zoomcast today. For those new listeners and followers today, would you mind just introducing yourself?
No, my name is Lynda Thornton Hunt. I'm a psychotherapist specializing in trauma, and I'm also an author of a book.
Perfect. And how do we find you?
My website is Your Inside Story at .co.uk. So it's yourinsidestory.co.uk, and all the information about me is on my site.
Perfect. And what did you have in mind for us today? We've had some great conversations, obviously, with all you do and all the people you're here to help. What did you have in mind for us today?
Well, after we spoke a fortnight ago, Jill, and I had one of my clients from the Cayman Islands on a session with me online, and he had an experience which I thought encapsulated so well some of my teaching.
Okay.
And I thought I would tell you that story.
Sure.
Okay, shall I go ahead?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay. Right, okay. I teach as the second step virtually in my therapy sessions, how to breathe properly. Now, lots of people have been taught about breathing and yogic breathing and all kinds of different breathing. I do a breathing that's specialized for me for trauma.
Okay.
It's one of my strongest impressions on my clients is that it's really important to practice this breathing.
Okay.
Because what it actually does is it keeps you in touch with your core. So practice this breathing 5 times a day, once in the morning, once at night, and 3 times during the day. Now, when you're in trauma, it's very difficult to breathe properly to calm you, to switch off the autonomic nervous system. So I ask my clients to do the practice of breathing every day so that when a crisis happens, their brain-body reaction is, oh, they're doing that breathing that calms me down. Okay, I'll go with that instead of what's she trying to do? I'm in alarm. Nino, nino, nino. This is survival. Yeah. So this breathing is fundamental. And my client told me this story, which I'm going to tell you because I thought it was the most perfect analogy for the work. He is a climber. And he climbs cliffs and walls and free climbing. So, and he really enjoys it. And he was telling me how, as he climbs whatever it is he's climbing, he will scream and shout and very often swear and to get rid of his aggression and stress. You have to remember this is a man with past trauma, right? So I said, okay, if you manage to expel some of your pent up anger and your trauma, that's okay to do that. It's like screaming into a pillow or going into a field and screaming. Get rid of that anguish and that anxiety as much as you can. So it was quite acceptable. Now, what he didn't tell me was when he got to the top of the wall, his hands were all blistered and bleeding.
Oh,
Now, he hadn't told me that, right?
no.
So I'm going on the proviso that he just climbs the wall and shouts and screams and gets rid of some of his aggression. He told me that week he had used his breathing to center and calm himself before every move, and he had got to the top of this very difficult climb perfectly. But he said the extraordinary thing is, Lynda, my hands were perfect. There was no bleeding, there was no blistering. Wow. My hands were perfect. And I said to him, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Think what that aggression and that trauma is doing, not just to your hands, which is visible evidence, but to your body. So by breathing, keeping centered, using his trauma breathing and calming down, he was keeping centered all the time. No need to shout, no need to scream at the wall, no need to blaspheme or swear or whatever he was doing. He got to the wall, up to the top, celebrated, and looked at his hands, and they were completely normal. No bleeding, no blisters. Wow. The first time ever he'd climbed.
My goodness.
Yes. So I said that I've spoken to him today, actually. He had a session today with me. And I said, I'm going to use that analogy on my podcast because it so closely resembles what stress and anxiety does to us.
So much. But there's good news. It could be changed. We could be saved. Breathing. Yes. Who knew? Who knew?
Well, actually, it's the core to everything. And it's a stipulation that if I take on a client, they have to do their practice of their breathing because it will alter their lives. If they're breathing properly, they will feel the change and their autonomic nervous systems switching off and calming down.
Could you give us an example of it? Can we?
Of the breathing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
By all means. Okay, so it feels very different from normal breathing. And it's not done in the round because that makes me even more anxious. And as I've said on my podcast previously, I don't teach anything that doesn't really work well for me because otherwise I haven't got the faith to teach it to anyone. So it works like this. Normally, you would breathe through your nose, hold and breathe out. This isn't what we do in this. This is what we do, but we do it in a different way. If you and it's quite tricky to learn to do properly, but you will know you're doing it properly because the results will completely calm you down. It can't not work if you're doing it properly. So in the beginning, it's easier if you put your hand on your tummy. Okay. And what you do is and I always find it easier if people close their eyes because they can concentrate more, is breathe in through your nose and imagine you've got a balloon in your tummy. So no movement in the upper chest at all. It's diaphragmatic breathing. So if we breathe in through our nose for 4, and hold for 3, and breathe out for 6, pulling in our tummy muscles, and then relax. Now I'm going to do something that's a little bit strange, but I'm going to point the camera so that you can actually see, because it's a different way of breathing and feels very different. So because my clients find it quite difficult to learn to do, I'm going to lay down. I've got black leather pants on, so I'm not sure that it's the
Easy.
best. Can you
Okay.
see my tummy?
I could see. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to show you because I want you to see. Tell me to alter
Breathe.
my. It's in the
Okay.
wrong.
There you go. Yep. It's just going in and it's a little blurry because you're on the blur. There you go. Got you right there. Perfect.
I want you to see what happens to my tummy and then my
Sure.
shoulder lift. So I'm going to breathe in for 4. Hold for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe out for 6. Pushing my diaphragm in. Can you see that
Yep.
properly?
I could see. I could see. Yep.
Could you see that?
In and out. Yep.
So now what you do is you relax.
Okay.
Normally people will tell you to go into another breath immediately,
Okay.
but that always makes me anxious.
Mm-hmm.
So just relax. And then when you're ready, put your hand on your tummy. You're breathing into what imagine to be a balloon in your tummy.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe in through your nose for 4. Into your tummy. Hold for 3. 2, 3. And out through your mouth for 6. Pulling in your tummy muscles.
Uh-huh. Okay. Uh-huh.
And relax.
Okay.
Just relax.
Huh. Okay. Could do that.
Okay.
Doing
Yeah.
that. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, we're going to do it again because I always teach it in 3s. It's a group of 3. Always done in a group of 3. So, as you're a very, very good student, so
Thanks to the teacher.
okay.
Thank you.
Well, it's sweet that you're joining in so beautifully. So, if you just close your eyes and put your hand on your tummy, and when you're ready, breathe in through your nose for 4 into the balloon in your tummy, not into your chest. And hold for 3. And out through your mouth for 6. Pulling your tummy muscles in and relaxing. How does that feel?
Good. Can I be honest with you, Linda? A
Yeah,
lot of
of
times
course.
I breathe wrong. I breathe wrong. I breathe in, but my diaphragm is not expanding. I'm holding it in. All those years of like working, especially in television, you want to keep your stomach tight. And as a woman, right, you want to feel, and I do it reverse. I'm noticing now, and yeah, it's wrong. Thank you.
Well, when we're anxious and on
Nervous.
television and
Yes.
performing, then doing this breathing before you come online would be really helpful.
Uh-huh.
But we are, as women particularly, we are taught to hold our tummies in, aren't we? All
Years
the
of
time.
corsets and the whole, yeah, women, yeah, with the thinner waist, it's more attractive. We're, yeah, society has done
Absolutely.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. And what happens is then we don't breathe properly. But to be able to calm our nervous systems down,
Mm-hmm.
we need to be able to do diaphragmatic breathing.
Okay.
And you should feel different after doing it 3 times. It can't not work if you're doing it properly. You should feel your voice lowering. You can probably hear mine's lowered. I'm not putting it on. My
Mm-hmm.
voice is lowered because actually it's quite exciting doing this kind of work on video and talking to everybody. I'm loving it. So I've got an element of excitement going on. So actually doing that breathing calms you down.
Ah, thank you. All right.
And that's my number 1 lesson
Perfect.
for all my clients. And if you practice that 5 times a day, you can do it when you go to the loo during the day, first thing in the morning when you wake up,
Okay.
last thing at night when you go to sleep, and 3 times during the day.
Yeah.
It will alter your life.
Amazing. Thank
It
you.
will always keep you centered.
Wow. And would you mind sharing all forms of contact so our listeners can reach out to you?
Oh, no, absolutely. Just get hold of me on my website, yourinsidestory.co.uk, and it's all there. And that breathing is explained to you in my book, which I have here, which you can buy from the site, and it's in chapter 2.
Beautiful.
After goal setting. We mentioned goal setting, didn't we, last week?
Yeah.
As something that sometimes we don't know what our goals were. You mentioned keeping your room tidy.
Yes, you're so good. And I did the kitchen and I'm on to the room and the hallways. It's a slow process, but it's the little bit at a time. When you have two little ones, I have a 6 and 8-year-old, there's not enough time for mom to do a lot. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate you remembering. I'm working on it little by little, really.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can even just do a drawer at a time.
You can.
But once you've done a drawer, it's so satisfying.
Feels so good. Yes, that's the word, satisfying.
Yes. And it makes you feel lighter.
All around. It makes me a happier person. People don't understand that physical clutter really produces mental clutter for someone like me. It does. Most people, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. So even clearing one drawer is a wonderful feeling of lifting and to be in control and not to feel cluttered, because you're right. If it's around you, it's in your head, isn't it? So it's very good as feng shui too, of course, but it's also very good for your mental health.
Got it. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for reminding us of that. Lynda, what else did you want to discuss with our listeners today? I mean, there's a lot to the work you do and you're able to help us with.
Well, what would I say to my clients if I'm talking to everybody that's listening and watching? What would I say? I mentioned last week about goals, and what is it do you really want? But I didn't qualify it enough, and afterwards I thought I should have qualified it better, because this is really important. If you want to get somewhere, then you need to know where you want to get to, really, don't you? So ask yourself, if it's to be, a usual one is, okay, what's your goal? And it'll be the confidence or happiness or something. And so my reaction to that would be, well, what does that mean for you?
True.
Because we're all different, aren't we? So what does that mean for you? What will you see happening differently in your life when you are more confident and when you're happier? What does that mean to you? What difference will it make? What will you be seeing yourself doing that you're not doing now? Yeah.
Thinking, yeah. Hope we're all thinking. Go ahead.
So it's about, if we're starting with goals, this is all in my book, by the way, and it's written as an interactive guide, and it's like a journal you can use for all your life. So you can go back over it, because we grow, don't we?
Yeah, true.
We grow and we change, and our goals change. Certainly, as we get older, our goals change. We have different needs. So it's really interesting. Also, in the book, but in the book, it will show you what your journey has been to get to where you want to get. And it's a proven way of working, because I work like this with all my clients for the last 20 years. I know it works. It's proven. So to be able to get to the end and say, well, all right, if you're saying that to me, Lynda, and what will it look like? How do I get there?
True.
You know,
How
what
do
do
you
I
get
need
there?
to do to get there? It's all very well saying I want more confidence,
True.
but there are techniques for learning to be more confident. And we can talk about that in my next podcast, which is on, I've written it down here,
Oh, good.
22nd of March at
Ooh,
this time.
perfect.
And we can talk about not just wanting something, but how can we make it happen? What are we looking for to happen? And in the book, as you go through, it's done in 10 sessions, as if you're working with me. It's quite it does require input. It is an action. It is a interactive workbook.
Okay.
So you can see at the end the results you're getting.
Ah.
That's important. The proof of any pudding is in the eating, isn't it?
So true.
So yeah, no, absolutely. It can look really pretty and taste like cotton wool. It's got to work. It's got to taste good. It's got to work. So the thing is, then, if I'm speaking to everybody like I'd say our clients, say, start your breathing exercises. Really, they will change your life for the better. This isn't flim flam. This is really important for your mental health, everybody's mental health, because we all get stressed at times.
Wow.
And especially having young children is very stressful. Bless you.
I had to sneeze. I muted it. Thank you. It is for sure.
Oh dear, I hope you haven't gone down with a cold or anything, bless.
No, it's just a sneeze, I hope. We'll see.
We seem to have lost our link, but
I'm
no
here.
doubt you'll come back in a minute.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Yes, there you
Hi.
are. Well, you sneeze very beautifully.
Well, because I was able to hit the mute button in time. Thank you. I get in trouble sometimes from the tech people that saying mute it when you sneeze. I'm like, sometimes I can't get to it in time. But thank you.
So what I would say is concentrate on your breathing, do it. It will pay you hugely for the effort you put in. And think about your goals. What do you want to see? And then we can talk about that.
Wow.
When I'm next online in a fortnight. On the 22nd, I said, didn't I? 22nd of March.
Perfect. Same time. So that's US time is 10 a.m. What time is it where you are?
3 o'clock in the
Perfect.
afternoon.
Oh,
yes.
Good for you. Do you have any good plans for the day? How is the weather where you are, by the way?
Well, it's been snowing.
Wow, really?
Really, really pretty. What about you?
It's just
What's
cold.
like
It's cold in New York.
Yeah.
We only in New York we only had like 3 inches of snow just last week. Other than that, it has not been snowy at all. Normally we get a few snowstorms, which is nice.
Yeah.
But of course, looking forward towards spring, which is on its way. Don't you love it? I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes. Well, we've got little daffodils up here and things and crocuses. I'm sure you have too, haven't you?
Not yet, but hopefully on their way soon.
Yes.
Oh,
Can't wait for spring.
I know. Well, Lynda Thornton Hunt, if someone wants to work with you, reach out to you, could you tell us how we can reach you? And you offer an initial consultation, correct? Free of charge?
I can do that, yes, because we need to have a little chat first. I don't work with anybody I don't think I can help, because I work mainly by recommendation. So we need to chat, see if there's rapport, and see if what's going on and the issues are something I can help with.
Perfect.
That's the important thing. So you can get me on Your Inside Story. That's YOUR Inside INSIDE story, story.co.uk. And that will, my name is Lynda Thornton, as in chocolates, hyphen Hunt. I shouldn't advertise, should I?
Love it.
So you'll see it'll come up, and then it'll explain everything, and you can get the book there if you want to follow me, buy the book as well.
Thank you so much. All right, Lynda, have a fantastic day. Pleasure to have you back, and looking forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks. And we'll hopefully have some spring in the air by then as well. Thank you for your time today, for teaching me and a lot of us to breathe. The simple process of breathing can do so much for us. Thank you again.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.